Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights, Monday Night Lights. Let's talk about what's been going on at Viking Ice Arena. You've never seen a league so exciting and tough and fast. It simply must be discussed on an equally exciting and tough podcast. What's it called? Monday Night Lights. Yeah. Monday Night Lights. Monday Night Lights. What's been going down on the ice? Who are the leaders? Who are the failures? The Ducks, the Tigers, the Nordiques, the Whalers, the Seals, the Americans, the North Stars. Who's gonna stall? Who will go far and earn the keg? Who's gonna earn the keg? We'll find out in time. Give us a holler on the whoop line.
And the Monday Night Lights podcast is back. Brian Pearcy here with Paul Proctor. We got the Sniper Troy Auto. Spicy Hedis is on the way. How you boys doing today?
Doing all right. Doing good. Good to be back in the well. Last time I was
straight from the peaks.
safe from
feeling
peaks.
good.
Got a little buzz. Saw a little cleavage. It's great. It's
There you
great.
go.
Yeah, it's nice.
I'm straight from hockey practice. Not quite as fun.
Respectable, though.
6-year-old hockey practice, but good to be back. Ready to get with it. Little bummed, you teased this special guest, and then when it turned out to be spicy lettuce, that's not very special.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't supposed to be the special guest. So,
I understand.
yeah. Still trying to figure out Troy's camera real quick. It looked like we accidentally unhooked it, and I think I plugged it back in, but it doesn't seem to be going quite yet. So
We know what he looks like.
I got a face for radio.
Yeah.
that is very true as well. So he might be stuck here the rest of the day. I don't know. Whatever. We'll figure it out. As always, give us a call on the Whoop line, 714-75-WHOOP. Follow us on Twitch, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all of that good stuff. If you ever want to come on the podcast, just let me know and we will try to work things out as well. First topic on the agenda. We had an MNL skate at Little Caesars Arena. I think both of you guys were there.
I did. Yeah. I stuck
So
in there.
give us a little behind the scenes talk on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that we were able to do at Joe Louis at least 2 times, I think, maybe 3, but at least twice. And then when they ran into the new arena, we couldn't get on the main sheet. It's just much more difficult with the shared building and all the concerts and stuff. I think that first year, there was something like 280 nights or something. There was an event there or
Yeah.
something like that.
There
Maybe
wasn't
even
anyone
more.
on that sheet, I
Yeah.
thought. Yeah.
So we did the Belfour, the practice sheet, which was nice, but it's nice to get on the main sheet. The lady reached out and she remembered us and she said, "Hey, we're gonna be able to get some groups on." And so she reached out and I was like, "We're in." Just knew that we'd be able to sell the tickets to do it, and it was fun. Now I don't know what you felt. I mean, it's obviously a much nicer facility, cleaner,
No,
but
definitely.
definitely. I missed the smell, the stale beer, and the springy boards at the Joe. The ice at the Joe was better, but I mean, it's
I
still
thought so too.
pretty awesome.
I thought so too.
I was going to say that one of the big things is how is the board difference?
It's-
Dead.
Yeah, I mean,
Dead.
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so funny because it's like you hear about the springy boards, and I remember the first time I played down there, I was like, "Holy cow!" I mean, there's really nothing like it. It's probably like 50% springier than anything,
Mhm.
and these things were not the same. But my favorite part about playing at like a place like that is like the puck goes in the corner with the Zamboni door, and like the ice is just perfect. There's no uneven, there's no bounces. You can see the lines. The net didn't come off 57 times, and we
true.
probably had. What do you think we had, about 50, 60 fans there in the
Yeah,
corner?
we had some fans. We brought the wives out and the girlfriends.
Yeah.
Some both. Yeah, it was nice. So that was awesome.
Pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, it's always nice for you to set that stuff up. When's the game coming up? Did that happen or is it coming
That's
up? Or?
Saturday, November 13th against the Canadians. So we sold 80 tickets. So I mean, I'm sure not everybody's going to be able to make it, or some will, but I bet there'll probably be at least 50 of us down there. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, it should be. I snuck in on Woodsy's spot, so I didn't even
Yeah.
get the tickets. I just got to sneak in on
Yeah.
the skate because he double booked. So
That's still
we'll see if I can grab a ticket or two to
Yeah.
get down there.
You
Be
didn't
nice.
pay full price for the
No,
tickets for the
I
skate.
tossed him
did
like
you?
$100, $125 or something like
Yeah,
that, and then
that's
they let me skate. It
that's
was cool.
still to be negotiated. I'm actually the escrow holder of that.
Yeah.
Paul gave me some money.
Trusted
and then,
funds.
And then he's like, "This is for Woodsy for the tickets." I'm like, "Oh, that seems pretty fair." And then Woodsy's like, well, I'm keeping the tickets. And I'm like, wait a second, Paul, you're not going to pay $150 just to skate. The tickets are worth a couple hundred themselves. So that's to be negotiated. We're going to make a nice fair
we'll
deal.
figure it out. Yeah, not worried about it. It was just cool to get out there, man.
It was
you know,
very
the
cool.
cube was up and Fister's running the boards. That was cool, man. We had our logo up there. That was sweet.
It definitely looked good for Instagram. I know Maff's going to put something really cool together.
Yeah.
He shared the raw footage, and I was like, holy shit, I can see why this thing's going to take a while because he's got, hours of footage to comb through, but pretty cool.
Yeah, everyone was taking pics and everything. It was really cool.
Yeah, I don't even know how you'd go, hour, 2 hours of footage and try to put a 5-10 minute, it's so much video, so many cuts. It's not an easy thing to do for sure.
No, as long as Mackie gets 4 minutes for his goal. Yeah, that's all we need.
Exactly. We'll do it again next year, though. So anybody who missed their chance, as long as they give us the opportunity, we definitely plan on doing it, once a year.
That's awesome. We went to Rick's after. That was cool. Or dinner before.
Harry's,
or Harry's. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That was a great time.
Very nice. Let's see. Next thing on the agenda, jersey updates. Last I heard, look like possibly November 15th is the day we're gunning for.
That, it is a little bit like the Tommy Boy guarantee. You shit in the box and slap. So I'm very hesitant.
Good looking at T-bone steak.
Exactly. But word is that they will be in Rebirth headquarters, which is up in Sagnasty with Manny on November 10th, which would give us plenty of time to get up there and grab them so that they will be ready for November 15th. That's what we're told. Also, it got to a point where we had to threaten, like, hey, this is at some point we need to cancel the order because these are a once a year deal. Not that we ever wanted to do that. We're so invested. We've already kind of paid. When I say paid for them, we've already kind of established the budget for what the league is going to cost. We haven't paid for them yet. We're not that dumb. But
is this our first year with them or second?
Second year. And they were decent last year. We've never had them on time, but I think they were just like kind of the normal amount of lateness last year.
Normal month late.
3 to 4 weeks or something. So this is a little insane. So anyways, they promised November 10th. They promised the discount. I don't really care. That comes out wrong. It's not that I don't care about the discount, but I more just want like an acknowledgement that yes, we fucked up and this is not like a normal delay. So I don't think it's going to be a huge discount, but maybe they knock off a little bit and we get a little, let's say we get a little $500 to $1,000 fund or something like that. And we can use it to, buy some drinks or something, put it to, whatever. Yeah. But we'll see. Hitcher would be nice. I don't even remember what our jerseys look like. It's been so long.
Yeah. Nordiques are red. That's all I remember.
No,
we chose
Nordiques are red. Maroons are teal. Our pets' heads are falling off. I don't know.
Americans are gray, I think.
It will be nice, though.
It will be nice. We'll give thanks. We'll give thanks on Thanksgiving for jerseys. It'll be nice.
Yeah. Last thing on the agenda really is, and I even hate bringing this up, is there any ice update?
So, yeah. And this is another one where it's like, and again, we're entitled to ask, but the latest on the rink is they were able to, the city authorized the purchase of a heat exchanger, which again is some type of device that will, heat up the subsurface. The problem is it's a used heat exchanger, and I don't know the first thing about any of this, but like the parts won't come in until like the end of November. Then they got to put the thing together, assemble it, and then wait for it to do its magic. And there's no guarantee that this will fix it. They think it will fix it.
Jesus.
So, I think realistically, like best case scenario would be
next year,
January. Yeah. So I don't know how much time you guys want to spend on this, but so in my mind, I'm planning for this 11:30, thing the whole year. Just, it sucks, but it's just, I'd rather plan for that and then be pleasantly surprised. I did reach out to, the problem is it's like, there's not that many facilities that have multiple sheets, that can even have us, the ones that do. So we did reach out to Troy. They have nothing. They offered us one sheet at 11 o'clock at night. So it's like, I don't think I could get any better. I don't think it warrants splitting up the league to make up a half hour in Troy, so.
Can we put on the rollerblades? Get out there in the concrete?
I am. Yeah. That would be one option.
Yeah.
Once a week roller.
Yeah. Put the shoes on.
That.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
That might make
Let's strap up the sneakers, man. We get a game out there.
The other thing that I told them is like, just jam in if you're going to wait 2 months for the parts to come in, I'm like, just put in the ice. I asked them, I'm like, how much does it cost to put in the ice? And it's like by the time like the cost, like the ice, the paint, this and that, I think it costs like $4,000 to put in the ice. It's like, well, just put the fucker in for 2 months, and then when you get the part, boom. Not conspiracy theory, but
there he is,
Spicy
the
Lettuce
legend himself.
Spicy Lettuce has joined us, but
Shutout King.
I think most of the youth hockey teams have kind of made other arrangements, for the season. So they're not really getting a ton of pressure. Like, so the youth hockey teams have already kind of figured out what the hell they're doing. So it's really just, and then most beer leagues probably aren't as big as ours. So it's like, I don't think they're getting a ton of heat from other people just besides us. Probably a little bit. But Sikorsky's kid plays for U of D. The high school hockey is just starting. So I know U of D put some heat on them. So hopefully that helps. But,
nice.
But if we were skating on the Olympic on February 1st, I'd be happy. I'm happy.
February,
Yeah. Happy is the wrong word, but I mean, that's
relieved, really.
Yeah.
Does
Relieved
anybody
is
know
fine.
any of the science of this? Like, it gets colder outside, it's going to be harder to melt that stuff? Or
People have said that, and I mean, other common sense tells me that, but I don't know that for sure.
We know the LCA people, right? Get them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be like, put some
But
ice in
very frustrating. Very frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do right now? Mr. Hedis, how you doing today?
I'm here. It's a little last minute call up. The E-Bug came in here, the E-Bug podcaster. So
Got his
glad to be here.
Liverpool gear on.
Yeah, and
What
What is that?
spicy.
You'll never walk alone.
Never
something
walk
like
alone. Yeah, big spicy win today, 2-0 against Atletico. But this isn't a soccer podcast, so
Yeah, I mean,
Thank God.
to be fair, I think there's been stuff going on in the chat for the last, day and a half or 2 days. You just never looked at the actual podcast chat. So
I had there's only like 3 locked channels apparently, and I didn't really notice it. There's a Worms channel, and there's one for the podcast, and another one. And I'm just noticing like a couple days ago, being like literally yesterday, that I don't get any notifications for those locked channels. So I got to figure that out. Call some IT people. Apparently, I'm not IT enough.
Yeah. We don't have any in the league either.
Yeah.
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 Sure.
So last thing before we move on to the games, we did actually get a voicemail today.
Oh, man.
First one of the year?
Is it
First one
is
of
it
the
Grandma
year.
Gio?
Mama
Wait,
Gio.
wait.
Gotta be Grandma Gio.
I don't want to make any predictions, but I do.
What does that mean?
After the Michigan State game, a very angry and drunk Sam Mackey was rambling on and on and on about Michigan, and he said something like, I wanted to come on here and be a sore loser, but you're being such gracious winners. And he's like, Billy Baru might have to leave a voicemail. So that's my prediction.
Oh, I like it.
But I do not know.
I think it's going to be actually Gio from Germany.
That would
Real
be-
Gio
that would
calling
be
in
awesome.
overseas.
That would be great. But I guess we'll just have to play it and see.
This fall on Billy B is Not My Lover. I'm so excited. I have no idea what to expect. Billy walks in and he just looks so handsome. Ah, Billy is my dream man. I'm falling in love. You can't do these things, Billy. I'm tired of watching you flirt with other women. Are you tired of watching me flirt with other women? What are you doing here? Making decisions with my heart. What the fuck? And now, for the first time in Billy B is Not My Lover history, celebrity host, Pee Wee Herman. I'm sorry, but if you do not receive a puppet, Billy B is not your lover. Ha ha! It all starts next week on Whoop TV.
That was
The
unique.
latest in another subscriber channel, Whoop TV. Can't
Whoop
wait.
TV.
Next to Paramount Plus and Netflix. You're going to love it.
That's a national treasure right there. That's gonna go down in history. That was beautiful.
Well, I was
Yeah.
right on my prediction, and I did let the record reflect that I did not know. And I think he was probably drunk when he left that. So he probably
As he should be.
probably
As
left
he
that
should be.
Saturday at about 4:30. When he was drunk.
It was
drowning
left
himself
today.
in the tears. It was left today.
Somewhere probably between 4 and 6. So hopefully he wasn't too drunk. if
He was
was
still drunk. He
drinking.
was drunk at 4. I like it.
So
That's what I like.
that remote work. As
He
soon as he
gave him a
gets
card.
gets off of remote work, he just goes in the kitchen and makes himself a mojito.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Hey,
funny.
with
Well,
working
he
from
o'clock at
home
11.
rules, you never know what could happen.
This is a good sign though, Paulie. So after your Monday Night Light retirement career, you can just take over host as Billy
It'd
Bobby's
be
love
awesome.
show.
It'd be nice. I get drunk at 10 and just ramble on. It'd be great.
Ladies' man, Paul Proctor.
Little Pee Wee Herman cameo there for a split
Yeah.
second.
I like it.
So let's move on to the games now. Unfortunately, I was out this Monday, so I will have to turn most of the stuff over to these guys, but I think they'll be able to handle some explanation. So our first game of the evening was the Whalers versus the Nordiques. The Whalers 0, the Nordiques 3. We have Mr. Paulie Proctor over here who was part of that game. So let's have you start with a rundown.
Yeah, it was nice.
And
It was
before
nice.
we do that, I already told these guys, I don't remember much about this game, but I just wanted to point out,
He was drunk.
first shift of the game, Lapoudre behind the net, springs Proctor, breakaway, stone by Cam. 2 seconds later, Lapoudre to Proctor, breakaway, stone by Cam. So 30 seconds into the game, Proctor 0 for 2.
0
I'm
for
a
2.
known jinx for the Nordiques. I'm like, here we go again. But there's a happy ending. So Paulie can take it from there.
Cam still got my number, man, ever since he shut me down in that shootout last year. We got a picture and we signed it. It's great. But yeah, game started hot. And yeah, first time meeting Pickle Rick. That was kind of cool. He's a tricky player. Way different than Matt Taylor. Not different, but just as good. Different kind of style game. But a lot of fun. And then yeah, we got some help from some of our vendors, man. Hal popping them in, Busta popping them in, Chris Taylor getting back out there, putting one top corner. That was nice. So yeah, it was a fun game. A lot of fun game. Tough team. Definitely tough team.
Yeah. So from your standpoint, then, how do you see the difference between Matt Taylor and Rick? You said they're different, but how do you think, I guess, the player and then also how it works with the team?
I don't want to. I gotta describe it. They're different, totally different. Matt Taylor's like a shotgun to your face when he skates. He's just like all power, and then Rick is more of he's like a sly guy. He's and he back checks. Which is weird. Not that Matt Taylor didn't back check, but he was back in the defensive zone. He was setting up a lot of plays. And he wasn't like the first cannon shooter like Matt Taylor is. He's more of a finesse guy, Igor Larionov / Lindstrom kind of shot kind of guy. It was cool. It was definitely different.
And Troy, you said you were actually a sub for this game, right?
Yes, I was.
So what did you see?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the Whalers. I think that's their first loss since the Slick Rick accusation.
I thought the stat sheet was wrong. He had like 9 points in 2 games, and I was like, this is wrong. What's this guy? What's this guy doing?
Yeah, but so they've been basically winning, and if you look at the stat sheet, they score 3 to 5 goals a game, and Trent and Rick score 3 to 5 goals a game, and then the grind line, the Bumber line of Dylan and Woodsy, to their credit, like they've just been playing kind of even hockey, and so if you play even hockey and the star line goes +4 or whatever, you're gonna win a lot of games. But Rick and Trent like definitely they didn't score, and I can't say they had a ton of chance. I'm sure they had plenty, but I just like off the top of my head,
I think they hit a bar once.
Yeah, I'm sure they had some chances, but it didn't seem like like they were as deadly. And then we were matched up against their grind line. It was me, J-Flo, and Hale versus Goosey, Sips, and Woods, and it's just fun, because it's like 5 guys out. When I say of the 6 forwards on both teams, 5 of us are just kind of bumbling around, and then J-Flo, possessed the puck for like 90% of the time.
That was the glue for the whole line. Yeah.
And then Hale goes to the front of the net and, banged one in, and there you go. But it is funny watching Goose and Woodsy kind of be like, they got into it with each other, shockingly, But
when Woodsy lit up Goose for going offsides and didn't dish it, that was so good.
Yeah. I mean, I do think Woodsy was like straight off the airplane from a 4-day trip in Vegas, so I don't think he had like the normal jump in his step. But Nordiques were the better team, and they got the W.
Yeah, and I was on shadow duty with Matt Taylor, so that's really kind of all you did, just contain the Matt Taylor, and so I kind of did that with Rick, but it was different because he was all, you lose sight of him. It still worked.
Contain the beast.
Yeah.
Contain the beast.
Sukas did a really nice job. There was at least two to three times where Slick Rick has a really kind of like a fister peso toe drag to the middle and a
it's
shot.
like a hybrid.
And Sukas, shut that down like kind of multiple times. I was just sitting on the bench. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. So it's interesting. So because as Slick Rick figures out the league, he'll know kind of which guys he can attack and which guys he can't, and this and that. But the flip side of that is the defenseman now kind of like, if you have, you the toe drags your move, it's like, people can kind of figure that out.
Goalies too. I mean,
Yep.
Kona got lucky, or not lucky, but Kona had him locked down all night too.
So we'll see how the Whalers respond next week with a little adversity for the first time.
It'll be nice.
It's just been a little
It'll be
honeymoon with
That's true.
Trent and Slick Rick.
That's true.
And Hedis, with you being the 10:30 game, did you get to see any of this? Or?
No, because for the first time in my entire hockey career since age 11, I left my pads at home. So I had to go back.
Jeez.
I forgot
mid
Claus played a couple
drive.
minutes.
He played like the first 3 seconds. So I had to go back and go home, get the pads, and then come back. I was like 3/4 way to the rink. I'm like, be nice and early. I'm gonna put these rumors to bed. And then like I look back over Unchanged Lanes. I'm like, I can see out the back. That's a little strange. I'm like, oh no, where's my pads at? So can I confirm it or not? I did a little spicy speeding to get back home.
So
But,
your first 2 games back, they had to delay the game for you to get on the ice.
No delay. I called ahead of time,
Oh,
made
you
sure
did?
Cam was on the ice. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah,
But you weren't there.
yeah, but no,
Yeah.
no wormies.
Just like-
though. No
just like
wormies.
the other game.
No
Yeah.
wormies so far out of my first 4
Sorry,
games
yeah,
back.
Yeah.
Worms.
Third time's a charm. Third
Yeah.
time's a charm.
And I-
Jesus.
Yeah, I've given up only 1 goal in 3 games, like
Yeah.
regulation
you show
games.
up late,
so.
you ice the other team, piss everyone off. And just,
Just
take
roll
the
out.
win.
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to catch much of the game, but I think you feel like you guys covered it pretty well.
So we're gonna move on. We're gonna skip the 10:30 game, game of the
Ooh.
week, and
Was
we'll,
the
Wow.
game of the week?
That was.
we'll move on to the North Stars with the Maroons. North Stars 6, Maroons 1. Sad. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on this one. I know Panty sub for me. We had Sugar out. Pete was gracious enough to sub as well. Sniper as a North Star. I'm going to let you take it away to give us your description of this game.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it was kind of shocking that the score was what it was. It was like a perfect. I feel like most teams so far this year, besides the Americans, who have before last night, have kind of had that one game where they like kind of dominate and just have this really awesome night. We have not. We've been had to scratch and we've been ugly. I mean, that's just the reality. So this was like our first kind of magical night where everything worked out, and I think it was a combination that we played well, but obviously, Pearcy to Panty, all things being equal, is probably a small downgrade, but then Pearcy on his second game, or excuse me, Panty on his second game of the night after playing at 9:30 and then having to sit for an hour and then come back. Like, I don't think Panty played his best game, and then Pete and Edge, like, they just didn't
It's
really.
not Sugar.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
just didn't
not
have
Sugar.
any certainly weren't like kind of clicking. So, if we played again next week, I don't think the score would be 6-1 or even close to that. But it was just kind of awesome. I mean,
Hell of a
obviously,
shot though by Pete. That corner shot was sick.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, Pete's goal.
Oh,
Was
that
like
was
short sight.
That was a different
American. That was
game.
Americans Tigers.
Oh, that was American. You're right.
Yeah.
That was
Peso
you're
got
right. Yeah, we'll
Peso
talk
got
about that.
yeah. Peso got their one goal.
Yeah.
From the North Stars perspective, it's like we obviously Chad had this magical. That's probably my ring. Sorry about that. Chad had a magical night. 2 goals, 2
Chad
assists,
did.
and
Yeah.
we put the.
Every time he gets better, he gets more
I know.
hurtful on
Oh, I know.
himself. I don't.
I
It's,
know.
It's
I know.
horrible cycle.
But yeah, we put the grind line together with like Chad, who's like, Mr. Graceful, and then we put Pellet and Bauer on his wings, and it's like, they just were able to they just bang and forecheck and fall all over the place, knock people down, and then the puck squirts out on Chad's stick, and they scored, and boom, boom, boom. So it was a nice night, but again, I don't think the North Stars are as good as that they looked in that game, and the Maroons certainly aren't that bad. So, but we'll take the win, and it's crazy
Good win.
after the. I know we're going to talk about it later, but after the rotation, we're right in the mix. So that's all you want to do is be in the mix.
It's true.
Be in the mix.
Yeah.
In the mix.
I feel like there was some bad luck as well. It's like one of the things, like, last second I have to miss. Sugar, originally, he has his vacation planned. He's like, it's on our bye. Perfect.
Were you guys on the bye last week?
We were supposed to be on the bye this week, but then the whole
I
stalagmite
got you.
thing
So
happened.
next
So
week.
when he was originally at the beginning of the season looking at it, he's like, hey guys, I'm on vacation. And we looked and we're like, that's our bye week. That's awesome. And then the week got canceled. Everything got pushed a week. And now we were missing Sugar that week. And then I'm out as well.
That's what happened.
I mean,
It just
in my heart, I'd like to say I would have helped the team do better, but obviously not 5 goals better. In my brain, probably 0 goals better. So whatever, but it still sucks. With it being an 11:30 game, I didn't actually stay up till the end of the game to see the score. So when I actually woke up a few times in the middle of the night and I was like, should I check Slack? I'm like, no, No. Don't look at Slack. I refuse to do it. I look in the morning and I see that and I was just like, oh God. And then we see the video of Chad, with his stick up in the air,
God.
doing his
It
little
was just a
stupid
magic-
little
it was
circle.
beautiful.
It was just
Magical
sick goals, though,
night.
man. He was putting them up, man.
Oh,
He
it
was
The
putting 'em
fuck,
up.
the
It was
fucking
such a magic-
ego on that guy
Oh.
skating
his
out like
lounge
he's the
jacket
number
ready.
one star after a game. I mean,
he was the number one star of the night. After that game, anybody would be. Oh,
It was
so unselfish.
And I will say the Hedis like post game interview was like so professional. Chad's response was so professional. It was
4 lines banging.
yeah,
4 lines banging. Yeah.
yeah, it really was.
Apologizes,
I will say, I mean,
apologizes to Gibby.
I know Hedis was, Hedis watched that game a lot because he was just flabbergasted that, he was like couldn't believe that the Chad Bauer, Pellet, me and Gibby line was taking down the vaunted Maroons. But
Yeah, that second line to me is like for the Maroons with you guys had Peso, Q-Tip, and Ite. That has
That's a
so
good
much
line.
speed and so much skill. That's
Yeah.
arguably the second. I think that's, in my opinion, that's a best second line to Monday Night Lights, and you guys just took it to him.
not last night they weren't, or Monday night. But yeah, it was a good night.
so how
I have a
many goals
question.
did that line score?
So Chad had 2, Pellet had 1, and Bauer. So they had 4.
4.
Not 5. And then
Man, going
Fister-
Drago levels almost.
Fister had a breakaway, and then Rattler had a power play goal. And Fister's breakaway was like, it was sick. It was like kind of like a little mini Kucherov thing. I mean, it was pretty bad.
It was pretty nasty.
But
I didn't see it.
I do have a question for you. I mean, I know you weren't there, but we joked about it, but there's like some truth behind every joke. It felt like the Maroons had like a 15 to 20 minute like closed door meeting after the game. Like everyone was out in the Labatt Blue party deck, and there wasn't a single Maroon, and then they all marched out together. So
Actually, that's
Nice.
a pretty normal thing for the Maroons. Like win or lose, like
tight-knit group.
we
it's
typically
awful.
people shower, hanging out. We almost run it like there's times where
Shower together.
we're in the 9:30
Yeah.
game. We have to like get kicked out of the locker room because the 11:30 game's waiting for us. So that is pretty normal. Win or lose, we typically do hang in there, finish almost all the beers. I mean, 11:30 is a little bit different. It's hard for me to say because it's like shit, I gotta go home and work type of thing. But hanging out in the locker room has always been a thing where
That's
people like to
good.
talk about the game, what we're doing good, what we're doing bad, win or lose. So I don't think that's any different. And I think that's always a good thing as well.
Well, I haven't played the Maroons before, so I guess I hadn't noticed. But that bodes well for the. Sounds like they enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, last year Dougie and Pearcy went around each player, each station, tell you what you did wrong, tell you what you did good. It was usually 2 wrongs, 1 good.
No, I thought you were
Think it-
supposed to do 3 good and then 1.
I know,
one
no,
little thing you can work on.
it's a negative sandwich. It's not the compliment sandwich. It's the other way.
There's
So
cynics.
that's how we got better.
You
There's
that
cynics
was
in that
that was
locker
only,
room.
that was
There's
only
cynics.
with you, Paulie.
Yeah.
We gave people when people needed extra feedback, we went with the negative sandwich. When there was other people on the team like Sips who was only positive, we gave them praise left and right. So we gotta work to our team's skills
true.
and what their needs are. And what they need is just a personality as well. You like the torture.
Yeah, I do a little bit. MNL taught me that.
I mean, I know Chad does. So
Chad,
if he was on your
Chad
team,
invented it.
yeah, if he was on your team, all you'd have is negatives. But
The fucking ego on that guy. God.
yeah.
He's a prima donna, shows up late for K-Felks games, wants his own dressing room sometimes, I've heard. So who knows? I
Him
don't
and
know.
Hedis are hanging out too much, man. Just,
4 point
showing
night.
up late.
Apparently, right? Yeah.
Shot up the stat sheet.
Nobody cares about the North Stars Maroons. Everybody wants to hear about the game of the week, though.
The
It was
bloodbath.
the battle for the last
Yes.
playoff spot at the end of the first turn. We had the Americans versus the Tigers. Americans take it 2-0. Mr. Hedis is being the goalie on the Tigers. Let's have you start this out.
I mean, it was a hard fought game. It was only a 1-goal game. Obviously, we lost effectively 1-0. They got an empty net. But I mean, that just comes down to opportunity, strategy, whatever else to get an empty net goal. Long story short, it was a 1-goal game. I felt like we had the ice kind of tilted in our favor, to be frankly honest. It was probably like 55-45. There's some factors within the game that are those personnel choices or like things that occurred that kind of I felt dictated the score and the pace of the game. I mean, I think the 2 biggest things was in the first period. I mean, there was a shepherd bow to the. I don't know if it was like a wrestling WWE move or what, but nice little bow up on Gumma, caught him a little high. And
We'll dig into that part a little bit after.
that's
as
fine.
well.
Yeah, so that ended up being a 2-minute penalty instead of a 4. And then later in the period, in the first, there was a water bottle thrown on the ice during like a breakaway. And every time I've ever
forgot
seen
about
anything
that.
thrown on the ice, I know it's a quote unquote referee discretion. Apparently now I read it, but like anytime I've seen anything thrown on the ice, period, a stick, a chair. I've seen a lot of random things. Yeah,
Chairs, children.
Yeah, you play some like whatever. You play in some other leagues and stuff. People, they do whatever they want. They don't care.
Nice.
I have seen a chair thrown on the ice. Like, yeah, it was like
Bobby Knight.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Awesome.
Anyways, I've always seen penalty shots just called after that, so it's kind of strange just to see like a 2-minute penalty given out. So, I think we ended up with the power play advantage. I think it was 6-2 on like penalty minutes that night. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a couple missed calls here or there. But I don't necessarily think the penalty calls kind of dictated the game per se.
Okay, Michigan fan.
Sounds
I mean, Michigan State fan. Michigan's the one that be complaining about not getting the calls, right? So I'd be a Michigan State fan if I was like, I don't think the penalty calls matter.
Just teasing.
Oh,
I was just taking a shot at Michigan fans, not you.
oh,
Thank you.
I'm just trying to
Every
follow
year.
the thought process. Anyways, long story short, we had the puck. I felt we had the possession. A couple more. We didn't really generate a lot of like high danger chances or like expected goals between like the hash marks or breakaways. Down low in front of the crease. That kind of all came in like the third period. We had like I think Fem had one good one and Shepard had one good one in the first, but like the most chances we had kind of came in the third period, like about 5-6 minutes left when we were trying to buzz. But yeah, the story came was Kalea showed up. Am I pronouncing it right? Kalea?
Kayla.
Yeah. Kayla showed up, put his puck stopping hat on and got the shutout for the Americans. And Pete was able to forecheck and get them a goal that they needed. So
Oof, that was
The guy they should have drafted in the first place.
I feel like
True.
the guy that like half the teams in the league should have drafted in the first place.
We're saying Pete.
The Americans are one of the teams that passed on Pete. And I mean, you guys passed on Pete, but it's been working out okay for you. But for the Americans, one game with Pete and they're 1-0.
It's true.
So,
It was
Did
1-0, and then there was an empty netter.
did either of you guys get to see any of the game?
Yeah,
I know
I
it's a
watched-
late one.
Yeah, I was there.
Well, I was.
No,
it
that was the 10:30.
It was the 10:30.
Oh,
I was
Yeah.
there.
my mistake.
Yeah, we covered the 11:30.
So
Yeah.
let's hear a third party assessment of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of in and out, so I wasn't watching. I saw Pete's goal, and then there wasn't a ton of
6 short
activity.
side.
Yeah,
Corner bar down ski.
I mean, Hedis referred to some strategic, decisions. So the Tigers for the last 2 weeks have been playing Ben at defense, and then they've been moving Hawk up to forward, and it worked last week. They beat the Nordiques, so obviously
Beat us with that move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so they rolled with it, but it does kind of limit that second line as far as the productivity. Can't count on Drago to get a hat trick every week, and
Oof.
that's the problem.
Still really.
I mean, the Tigers don't have a ton of flexibility. Besides moving the bin back, it's pretty much like
protects
like, are they
Kayla,
go-
but yeah.
yeah, we're gonna go Skillman and Fem or Bin and Kimmel, but they just haven't been able to throughout the year. They just haven't been able to generate offense. That's been the problem. And that was kind of the night. Like to what Hedda said, it's like they had some chances, of course. But I don't remember like a ton of like these awesome chances. So they just gotta. And Kayla played great. I don't want to take anything away from him, but they just don't have. They need to generate more offense.
Well, and to your point, just looking at the standings real quick,
We're going.
Tigers have.
We're going into the stats of
We're
it.
not. I just want Tigers
Overview.
essentially for the
Overview.
goals.
Oh, I can't
they only have
prepare.
10 goals on the year in 6 games.
I did.
So there you go.
So I mean,
I didn't do my homework.
as of right now, the 2021 Tigers have 1.67 goals per game average. That is technically the second worst in Monday Night Like history, dating back to 2017.
Hashtag math.
The hashtag math. The only team that has less goals scored was the 2019 or goals per game scored was the 2019 Deeks, and they actually made the playoffs that year. But that whole 2019 year, goal scoring was down. So I mean, even the Mighty Ducks and the Americans last year had like of 2019 and 2020, they had more goals scored. So
You're not going to win. I mean, you're not going to win a lot of games with 1.6 goals. You might have a
Your
chance
goalie
to
shuts
win,
out every time.
tie a game with
Told
2.
Kaylee
but
he gets
we've
zeros
talked
on
about it
the.
before.
Three's the magic
kind
number.
of the magic number. 4, you feel pretty good.
4 you should win
but
in
1
this
ain't
league.
going to happen.
Yeah, one is like you're just I don't know. 1 is like really tough. Like if you're scoring 1 goal a game, you can't. Like I'd rather.
That was the North Stars Nordiques playoffs.
There you
There was
go.
1 goal a game.
Yeah.
That's it. You win
Yeah.
games that way. So
Yeah,
goalie's got to get that goose egg.
But that's playoff hockey, baby.
I know.
So I think another thing with this game is, and we'll talk about the standings and all of that stuff in a couple minutes, but I think for the good of the league, this is great news because we've all talked about it. The Americans have looked really bad standings wise. You don't want a team to feel like they're out of it after that turn. And now technically they have the tiebreaker over the Tigers. They're in the playoffs right now. Those two are neck and neck.
Yeah.
So
That head to head.
it's very nice to see.
it's enormous. Because if it would have went the other way, Tigers have 6 points, Americans 0, and then it's like the Americans are 2 full games, behind. So now it's like, yeah, if the playoffs started today, they'd be in, and it just keeps it close, and maybe it lights a little spark on the Americans. Who knows?
And there's only one reason. It's because of blood.
Exactly.
There was blood shed, and that's how you turn a team around.
That's
sometimes.
a good transition.
Captain
So
Gumma. Captain Gumma.
without me being there, I've being in the ref channel, being in the executive channel, I've saw a lot of chatter about some incidents that happened in that game. Who wants to give me a little bit of a quick rundown of that for the podcast?
So I didn't see it. All I saw was the, white jerseys and red blood. Well, that's just an eye catcher, and it wasn't a little bit. It was a lot of it, and it was. Yeah, it looked like he just spit blood, and it was motivating. But I didn't see the hit. I didn't see what happened.
Pettis was the only one on the ice. I saw the aftermath, and I have some opinions on the penalty shot thing. But as far as laying out what happened, I think the spicy one should tell people.
Was it an elbow? I thought it was a stick.
No, so it was quite literally to the left of my goal. It was like the left side of the goal line to my net, and Shepard and Gumma were fighting for the puck in the corner. And, a lot of guys go hard, there might be some clutch and grab and trying to fight for the puck, usual things. Anyways, Shepard got an elbow a little high and hit Gumma in the face.
The nicest guy. He's drawing blood out there.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Shep is a little bit feisty, though, for the record.
Yeah, he can be.
So he got his elbow a little high, and Gumma doesn't wear a full cage. He wears like a halfie, but even still, most of the time halfies are enough, right? So I think the elbow caught him in one of those soft spots, and he started bleeding. So if it was a high stick, after the fact, thinking about it, and I sleeping on it, I don't know if a 4-minute would have been right. Maybe it was like a 2 and a 2 you could have called if some people Americans were saying it should have been 2 minutes for elbow and an additional 2.
Blood rule?
But
it's
the blood
another
rule.
2 minutes
But
for the blood.
I'm going to say this.
Another factor that needs to go into that
finish.
is if you wear a cage, does that happen? Does he, does his nose or whatever is his lip, does it start bleeding? No, probably not. But this league doesn't require you to wear a cage, and most beer leagues don't. So it's up to the skaters' responsibility. So does he take responsibility for that? I don't know. Ultimately, though, I would definitely agree it's a 2-minute penalty. Whether you want to argue it's 4, that's like a morality thing you can argue in the league, and whether it's a personal responsibility thing or not.
The blood rule.
Yeah, I think there's been some debate about the blood rule, and I want to say Troy and I are in agreement, if I remember correctly, that I don't think that's necessarily the case, because if you choose not to wear a cage and, something happens compared to if you're wearing a cage and you get saved, that difference of a penalty, I don't think there's any difference.
Say you are wearing a cage, the guy draws blood.
There is
I guess the intent isn't any different though.
Or a slash or a hook, and
the blood rule is specific to the NHL as far as if you get blood.
Yeah.
But the USA Hockey does have if a player gets injured, there's a component to that to make something a major. But again, to my point,
it's a double minor. Major's 5.
Major's 5.
Major's 5. Double minor. You did double minor.
So if the result of the result of a play a player gets injured, but to me this doesn't. That's like boarding. A guy broke in the USA Hockey world.
Collarbone?
Yeah.
I don't think he got to, but 4 minutes for that one.
Yeah. So my point on that is while we don't require cages, we strongly encourage.
How many still have the half cage?
I think it's just Gumma and Ben's.
No, there's 4. Doesn't the new guy have it too? It's Slick Rick. Doesn't he have a halfie?
No.
Rick.
I think it's just Ben and Gumma.
Ben and Gumma, the last 2.
I
love it. Hold out forever, boys. Hold out forever.
I've said it many times. No matter what your skill level is, what your experience is,
you're always going to get.
You don't wear a cage because of your skill level. You wear a cage because of the people you're playing.
You're going to get some weird one.
And in Gumma's case, it's your skill level and the other skill level. I like Gumma. I think he brings a little charisma to the league and his little antics and stuff like that.
Sure.
But he definitely is a guy. He enjoys kind of needling people, hooking people, not in this injure way, but he likes to fuck with you a little bit. No. So if you're that type of player, the odds of you getting a stick up to your face is higher than a guy like Manny who skates away from contact. So my point with Gumma is I don't think because he mixes it up a little bit and a stick accidentally hits him in the face that it should be oh, he's bleeding, therefore the penalty should be higher. Now, if Shepard intentionally did something, whether he has a cage or not, then it could be escalated. But I don't think it should be I I don't think the blood should be the determining factor. That's my opinion.
Totally agree.
enough.
And that's kind of the intent factor, where if you feel like someone is throwing an elbow backwards or however it was with intent to get the person off them or, type of thing, then that's the intent, cage or not. Like, it should be a big penalty compared to if, you don't think it's intentional and the person's there. And if I have a cage on and I've been whacked in the face many a times, it just, my head goes back a little bit. Nobody sees anything. It's not the end of the world. Where if I don't have a, half shield on and I get hit in the mouth and now I'm bleeding all over the place, like I said, I think everybody in our league should be wearing that.
They should.
The
But
cage.
Still, I don't know. You're bleeding all over the place.
It's-
Another 2 minutes might help. I don't know. It makes you feel a little better.
I hear you. I mean, it's a great. I'm not like. I'm offering my opinion.
Of course.
Like the
Yeah.
Troy Otto
It's like if
opinion,
you don't want to wear a
not the
seatbelt
league
when
rule.
you're in a car and all of a sudden you get in a car accident, you're kind of putting yourself
That's
at risk
true.
by doing that.
That's
I guess
true.
is
You don't
my
want to get
thought.
vaccinated. We're not going to go there.
Oh,
We're not gonna go
Lord.
there.
All right, yeah,
We're not going to go there.
That's next week. Vaccination
That's
talks
next
101.
So obviously, I'm assuming Shep got a 2 minute for that.
Yep.
But then I
Yep.
also heard that Gumma left the ice. He thought he got
No,
ejected, or was there
so-
some other penalty? Was he arguing,
what-
or
He
what
chucked the
happened
ball.
after
So
that?
what happened here is that Shepard got the 2 minutes for the penalty. Shepard serves the penalty. As Shepard's penalty expires and he's coming out of the box, there's a collision with Dave P.
Dave Peeves backing up.
Which
Yes.
so then and then the end result of that is then Shepard is
breakaway,
skating
I
in on
think.
a breakaway, and that was when Gumma from the bench, bleeding on the bench but still pissed about everything that went on,
In a
sees
badass way.
throws the water bottle at Shep, and then and then
Look at the bad boys of the
And
MNL,
then-
man.
stops
The
it.
Americans.
and
I
then
love it.
it went from there. And so to Hedis's point, I looked up. I remember the rule, but it's been a couple of years. So the rule is that if you throw, and the rule book actually says stick or object.
Did he get ejected? Did he get a penalty?
He got a 2 minute penalty.
Okay.
But the rule book says that if you throw a stick or object onto the ice while
Plays going
it's in your end, if the offending player is
Oh,
in the
wow.
defensive zone, it is a penalty shot. So
Oh.
I don't know where Shep was when the water bottle was thrown, if it was thrown at him, but
He had to be in the zone.
He was at I want to say he was
The
at
blue
the
line.
top of that hash mark. No, he wasn't quite at the blue line. He was at the top of
No.
the hash marks. But that's the thing is the
so
reason why
technically
they.
it probably was a
Penalty
a
shot.
Well, that's the thing is when they threw the water bottle, it wasn't in the trajectory of his path, but it was right behind him as he was skating. But to me, if it's within a yard of the player,
I don't
even
think
if
it
it's
matters.
behind you,
I
I feel like
don't
it
even
should
think
just be.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. I mean, I think the refs probably, either they blew it or they choked or got nervous or whatever. So, I will say though that, what's the Shepard penalty shot conversion percentage?
That's
20%.
That's the thing is if that happens, you don't have to have that
Yeah.
player take the penalty
Yeah.
shot. You can choose on your team. So we could have had Fenn
No.
take it.
No, it has to be
No,
the
No, because it's a
offending
bench
player.
penalty. No, because it's a bench
You can
penalty
pull- you can
shot,
pull
isn't
up
it?
No, you can pull up the rule. The rule says that the closest player to the puck takes the shot.
Oh, interesting.
Like how he has the
Interesting.
referee
Yeah.
rule
Get the
book
book.
right here.
Yeah,
Official
I
rules.
So it
Googled
is the closest
I
player.
looked it up, but in any event, I mean, it is what it is. So they probably, in my opinion, they probably blew the call. It should have been a penalty shot, but it's just a giant, it's just kind of a giant shit show. They did they made penalty calls on both, so it's they didn't totally blow it.
The refs have been great this year,
Yeah.
I think. But yeah.
You can just, Proctor gets every call. Of course he loves
Oh,
the
yeah,
refs, but
I got no broken bones yet.
Yeah,
It's nice.
they
Yeah.
had one. I know there was one in the second that Crunk felt they totally missed. That Ryan Allen hooked his hands. He said, "I thought from my view, I thought it was a stick, but I didn't the Dave P collision thing. I mean, sure, I'm a Tigers, I'm biased, or whatever else they want to say, but
Technically,
I know you're backing up and you're not aware of the surroundings with Shep on the coming out of the box. But to me, I mean, if you you guys run into each other and Shepard's not really looking at Dave P, he's looking at the puck. I don't know. To me, I don't really.
Still interference.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
or just a
it could,
collision.
to me, it's just he literally got out of the penalty box, and Dave P's backing up as they both bump it. I don't really see that as a penalty or anything, but they were saying it was a penalty.
that's tricky.
There was one that we could have been called on Pete in the second period that they could have got a penalty for. So, like I said, I felt there were some missed calls, but ultimately, I don't necessarily think that decided the game per se.
No.
What I did want to bring up to Pearcy though is I think it's a after game topic is I think that the subs this year for teams have decided more games necessarily
agree. I
as
would agree.
than penalty calls or line combinations and things like that.
I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I think it just
There's no
depends
stats
either
track
way.
for them.
It always feels like with us, the Maroons have had subs twice. We have lost twice.
But that's my point. But continue with. We can transition that later.
And
I'll
I'm
let you
sure
finish.
there's other times. I feel like Pete's a good player. Chemistry, from what I heard, didn't work as good. How our team did on that side of things. But I mean, it's hard because sometimes you have a guy go out and there's a guy who ended up being a steal of the draft. You can sub in as well. It's just kind of the way that things fall.
No, I know, and
I
that's
still think that's one of the best. The best things that we did is do away with that 3 spots up, because it's like
Mhm.
if a team consistently gets their guys to show up, that should be a good thing. And if you can't get your guys to show up, you should be penalized. And it's not and
true.
And
That's
it's
how you
the
draft,
and
you
it's
know?
the proper level of when I say penalized, it's not like we're making people go from a 7th rounder down to a 4th rounder. It's just you just don't get an advantage from it unless there's that situation where there's a steal. So I think that's the best decision
it's
we've
smart.
made. As a
I think
group.
so.
and that was my point. So last night, I mean, this isn't salty whatever. I don't really care because I mean it's part of the rules, and I don't necessarily you can't win a game scoring 0 goals, but having Pete sub in for Judge, if a team the Tigers, us, the Americans, maybe I don't know, the Seals or now the Seals would be a good example because aren't they out? Whoop's favorite spicy boy,
Wellesley?
Wellesley, yeah.
Yeah.
So if they're ankle, yeah. So if you're missing a player, maybe
So
some
bad
of
for you,
some of those teams like us or the Americans may have not drafted perfectly. And then there's, like you said, this year, some guys, is Pete normally a 2nd rounder? And
There's
the
always
past years,
there's
or
always a couple
or
steals.
Trent. So you can kind of move your roster around by adding a player that probably should have taken in the first place or drafted, and it helps supplement the issues that your team may have had. So the American,
Sure.
I mean, do the Americans win with Judge? Does Judge create the same chances as Pete does? And the forecheck in that 1-1-3 system? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But I know that I don't think Judge is ever going to snipe it off the crossbar like Pete did last night. So I mean,
No.
I mean, same thing with us. If Kimmel's out and we get the sub in Chad Polinsky, I don't know if he's the 4th round, but Chad or whoever
right.
else, right? Yeah,
Could have had him.
yeah. Chad would have been spiced. Did we had 2 goal, 2 assist Chad, and he starts scoring goals. So yeah, so there's a lot of factors. I feel
Strategic subs,
yeah.
man.
And then if your team's out, right, and you have to sub somebody in, Pearcy yesterday, you were out for the Maroons, right?
Mhm.
Panny, I know for a fact, Panny is not good as a left D. We've talked about this in the KFAL. He's I don't like playing left D. I'm right-handed. It's hard for me to get the puck on the boards, yada yada. What did he play yesterday for the Maroons? He was playing left D all night. He's normally a right defenseman. So
right
yeah,
D,
so
at
for
least.
you, subbing in for you, you and Panny, it's normally it's a comparable thing. But if players aren't in the right spots and the subs don't mesh, like you said, for Pete, those subs do matter for your teams.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised by that just for the fact that I normally play right D. I trust Doug on setting the lineups when I'm not there. Normally we kind of talk about it. So those is what it is. I mean,
I think for the defenseman, for the lower end defenseman, it's important to play on your side, because when you're trying to keep when that puck comes along the boards, being on your forehand is a big advantage. Highly skilled guys, sometimes
the
they
shooting side.
like to be on their offside and they can pick it off the boards with their backhand. But for us benders,
Drager actually said he was
-2
-2 at right D to start the game and moved to left, and actually looks like he was even or no goals against at least on that thing. So
okay.
he did start at right, so he probably did kind of fill in where I was, and I'm assuming that
the
Doug
Maroons
was
did
trying to
panic
make
very
some
early. The
make
Maroons
some
panicked.
adjustments.
The Maroons panicked early. They abandoned Turtle at defense. They moved him up. They tried to match lines. It was just a disaster.
Yeah, I mean, Turtle on defense was not working last night. I mean, it was a minus, and he also had a penalty call at one point, and he got mad when I threw my hat in the ice when I thought Chad scored a hat trick. So Turtle was a spicy turtle yesterday. His spicy turtle soup.
That's funny because that's actually one of the things that I actually don't like to do is try to match lines, because I think there was with the Whalers game, Sugar was normally playing left wing, and I think it was Trent was playing left wing, and all of a sudden I see Sugar over on the right side and we're losing. I'm just go to your normal spot, make them play against us. If we're gonna lose it, we're gonna lose it. But let's just not match up at the start. Let's make them match up against us, because if you're over on that left side, Trent's on his left side. Yeah, there might be an advantage on the one side, but we're having an advantage on our side as well. And let's make them play to us until we are forced to change.
I agree with
smart.
that.
I always like that too.
for the
roll,
most
just
part.
roll lines, just roll
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Plus,
you're
there's a
still
lot
reeling
of
from the
times too,
star
if you're
rule.
used to those lines, you're used to playing a position, and all of a sudden it's we got to move you to another side or whatever. It doesn't sound like a big deal, but sometimes it kind of is, where all of a sudden now half your team's feeling uncomfortable. They don't feel normal. I like to, unless, maybe if we played a team twice and they rolled us both times, we could start thinking about that. For the first time of the year, just fucking roll the lines. Let's go see who the better team is and fuck it.
I agree with that.
It's true.
Yeah,
That's what
fair.
happens.
So do we have anything else to say about that game?
Nope.
No,
No, it definitely.
that was a fucking
I
battle.
think
It was
that
nice.
the Americans
I
going
mean,
forward are gonna,
Hedis goals against is now a whopping 0.5 per game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got lit up like a Christmas
Just
tree.
took
yeah.
You know?
dethroned Kona for 2 games. Good,
Yeah.
good for us.
I've
now.
already said he shouldn't even be on the stat sheet until he gets 4 games in.
That's true.
Oh, not
Week
last
one.
week it was 3 games. Now it's 4
Well,
games,
yeah,
and that's
it's gonna be
that's
5
be
next week.
Another
Yeah.
week.
Yeah, stop pushing it.
It's called man.
At the end of the season, I'll have 12. You should have had 18, bud.
So
I think I want to comment. I think going forward, I don't know who the Americans play next week, but I think that you're going to definitely see them kind of mimic what they did this past week, where they played like the 3, kind of like the Tampa Bay Trap in 2009, where it's like a 3-1-1, kind of like what we did, where we have like been back in defense. We have strong, stalwart kind of guys who can make a good first pass out of the zone and play defense. I think that's how they're going to win if they're going to win games going forward.
biggest problem
I
with
think
the
they're gonna come
Americans is
together.
Dave P hasn't been Dave P and hasn't been bailing, so they haven't been able to sub for him as of yet.
Yeah.
Oh
I mean,
my
just think of the players would be available. They could have Peso. They can have Chad.
Kimmel.
Spicy Kimmel. Oh yeah, Kimmel for them too.
Val-
Yeah.
value
Spicy.
left and right.
Yeah.
Subbing up left and right. It's so juicy right there. But so we've actually completed now our first round. Everybody's played everybody once, and we have our standings now. We have the Nordiques, Whalers, North Stars, Maroons, Seals. That's a 13-10 run. Super, super close. Then we have, in the last 2, we have the Tigers and the Americans, 3 points each. So currently, it looks like it's a 2-horse race for that last playoff spot.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give my comments, and then I got to go pick up my daughter from her boyfriend. You know, that's another podcast for the old.
Might want to
the
give him
old
another
dads.
10 minutes just
I
in
know.
case.
Yeah,
You know,
I
you
know.
don't want to say anything.
Terrible.
He-
But I mean, at the,
He's young though. He gets excited quick, so they're ready. They're ready to
Yeah,
get
they've
picked up.
been done 10 minutes ago.
but yeah, I mean, I can't remember my exact kind of preseason predictions at the top, but I definitely know that my preseason prediction for the bottom was the Americans.
We were number 6 for you.
But I think that's true. But then I think as we went on the same podcast where we went through the lineup, I was like, these guys are better than I thought. But the Americans are kind of what I thought they would be. I'm ecstatic that they're in the playoffs right now to kind of keep things interesting. Not just because it's the Americans, just in general, the league is the worst case scenario for the league is when we have one team that's way out of it. Just it's no fun. They don't want to come to the rink and boom. So I hope that they can hang with it. The Tigers, I'm not going to say I predicted them to have 3 points. That's very surprising. But I was worried about them being able to put the puck in the net consistently. Because last year they had like Fister and Fem, and then now they have like Fister, Fem, Skillman, whoever,
Yeah.
not having the Fister component. I was worried about their scoring. The Nordiques, I thought they were going to be good because I think Pearcy and I both thought that they got a steal with Busta when we were going through that. So I'm not saying I predicted them to be first, but I expected them to be competitive. I expected the Whalers to be competitive just because of Matt Taylor. So it didn't quite play out that way, but that doesn't surprise me.
Seems like they did well replacing him.
Yeah.
I think they did.
And I think when you look at it too, kind of the fun thing this year has been, like, I want to say the Maroons. I know we beat the Seals and the Nordiques. You guys beat, I know, the Maroons. Like, if you start looking at those top teams, it all kind of cycled through where it's not like that one team is super dominating too.
Yeah.
So if you look at those other teams, it's just like, this could be anybody's matchup. Just depending on how the playoffs work, that could be a big thing of who you match up with, who you could beat there.
I think last year it was like the Whalers and maybe the Seals or the North Stars, going off of memory. Maybe the Maroons just because they had Proctor, but it's like it definitely felt like a 2 to 3 horse race last year, maybe 4. This year, it's any of those top 5 teams could win it, which makes it a lot of fun.
It's true. But then
And it changes week to week. It's
we've
like,
lost to the Tigers, so
Right.
yeah, we're number 1, but we
Right.
lost to the Tigers. So
right, right.
It's anyone can chip
super-
away at it. And then the Maroons got shelled.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
MNL is always competitive. It's even like more competitive this year than normal. We did a nice job with the parody, and
I think so.
Super exciting for the finish. And now it's just jockeying for that first round bye. So we got.
I was going to say, currently, I still think I'm sorry to say, the Americans are the favorites probably to miss the playoffs.
Oh sure, yep, I agree with that.
there's going to be gel. You can't, the top 2 teams are, especially early, never do well in the MNL. The Whalers have proved that point many, many seasons.
Yep.
and just getting shelled out right in the playoffs. It's the team that gels mid-season. So I think you're going to see a hot run between the Tigers and the Americans. And I got to go with the Americans because Goma just bled everywhere for the hockey gods. And I think they're just going to start winning games, and they're going to be middle of the pack. And then they're going to kick another team down to the bottom. I think they are.
I think you're crazy.
I
But
know.
Not to say that they might not
There's
make the playoffs.
some team is
but-
going to gel
but-
better than others, and they're going to make a move.
I don't disagree with the fact that they might make a move or something, but they're not going to get to the middle of the pack. I'll bet the life of my children on that one. But I will say the gumma blood, bloody steak dinner for the team. I do
There you
like
go,
that.
yeah,
I do
there you
like
go.
that storyline. I always like to go to the American team dinners as like the morale guy. So I'm pulling for the Americans. I like fun group. But I hope that they can win some
Tigers
games.
too. I think one of those two teams is going to
Tigers,
start
yeah, I
coming
think
together. They're going
yeah.
to come together and they're going to start moving.
Well, the hardest part too, if you look at kind of the history, it's usually around 12 to 14 points clinches you a playoff spot. And if you say that the Seals are already at 10 points, it's really a 2-horse race as of right now. Spicy, how you feeling about your team?
I mean, what do you want me to keep the hat? Do a little spin ski on it?
I want-
This podcast had us.
I want
all right, here we go.
This is
hashtag
2 game
truth
headers
serum.
too. 2
Okay.
game.
All right, there we go. Turn the hat around. I think that both us and the Americans need to make a trade, but in a league that doesn't promote like trades. I'm not saying trades necessarily because the haves. This is a whole philosophical another discussion again. I think I brought this up in the podcast in the past. There's not an incentive for teams that are better to trade with worse teams unless they're getting a better end of the deal. So, like for example, the Whalers, right? Or you guys, Maroons, you're not going to trade with us or the Americans unless you get a better end of the deal. You feel like, unless it's like, okay, you get Fem and Bin, and we get like your first and your fifth or something like that, right? Like it just doesn't promote a culture of trading per se, unless there's other like future things involved, and that's something the league would have to address, and you can't really control right now. But long story short, I do think that the Tigers, us, and the Americans both are either going to have to trade somebody, or they'll have to have something happen to the roster. Like if the Americans could just like sub in every week, like a Pete or like someone else, like maybe in like the second round, whoever, I don't know who their first is.
Test
Serta.
it.
Yeah, just so like I feel like their team would be like they could compete, be better. Like us, I don't know if like I like Fem. Like Fem, he's my boy. Yeah, I like Kimmel, I like Benner, I like everyone on our team. But like if we had someone like one of our, I think Kimmel's got 0 goals, and I think Fem's got 0 goals. Like if we substitute one of those guys with someone that had 5-6 goals, like and get someone going to score more goals, I think that would change our team as well. So I feel like one of our two teams, if we'll make the playoffs, obviously, because one of the two teams has to. But if we're going to compete in the playoffs and win a game in the playoffs, I feel like we'll have to make a trade at some point.
Yeah. But it's also perceived value of what the pieces you have in place.
Yes.
Like you can swap 2 same round players in 2 different teams. Could be night and day for the team and like what's built around them.
I was going to say with your trade theory is like, yeah, a team, I'm not going to make a trade on my team unless I think it's going to make my team better. I'm not going to make a trade if I think it's going to be worse.
But it's all perceived
But that
value.
doesn't mean that
perceived
each
value.
team doesn't in their head think that they're going to get better. And maybe both teams can get better. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's perceived that the Maroons would get better, but the Tigers actually get better.
And that's why in the past, though, like the perceived value, that's why you see a lot of goalies in our league be traded in the past, because you can like swap in a 3-player trade, right? Like it was like Joe Ellis 2 years ago. It was Joe Ellis. I can't remember who the other person was.
And the goalies.
Yeah, it was the goalie, me and Riley, Joe Ellis, and somebody else. Like it was 3 players involved, because like, whereas you can view, okay, we get Joe Ellis and I can't remember the other person, Pete, or not Pete, whatever. Anyways, long story short, you get like the players could have been viewed evenly, but the goalies were viewed kind of like a little bit better or worse. But like if your team has good defense already in place, like okay, fine, like I get a better goalie.
Getting shelled.
Yeah. So like maybe the goalies might make a little bit of a difference. So like that's why I feel like a lot of goalies have been traded and a lot of like higher lower picks as opposed to like just 1-for-1s. Like you don't see like a 3rd rounder for a 3rd rounder Monday Night Lights. That hasn't really happened.
Or a 1-for-1.
1-for-1. Yeah, you don't
I
see
want
that
to happen. I want
right?
to see that.
Yeah, but
I mean, it could happen if someone approached us and, some of it just might be what your team need. If someone approached us and they're like, we're looking for X and we're looking to give you this, and we're just like, that could make our team better. I don't know. It's hard to say because at least this year, unless they've just went to Doug, the Maroons haven't been approached with any trade talks, and we haven't reached out to anybody. I've heard scuffles of a couple teams or people throwing out offers,
like
but
a straight
I don't
2
know
for
of
2.
anything.
Like, oh man, just 2. Yeah.
You
Second
could.
rounder, just straight up.
Yeah, I mean that,
So
and that might be what some teams need. I mean, that might be what us or the Americans might need to get it going outside of changing lineups. But I feel like we still have a couple more games to kind of fiddle
Figure
with
it
our
out,
lineup
yeah.
and try to figure
When
it
is
out.
the deadline?
We still
End
have
of the second rotation.
7 weeks for the deadline.
So a
So
whole nother rotation.
there's still a lot of time. And I think it's also a little bit weird because the Maroons
Thanksgiving-
right
no,
now,
it's a little past
we like
Thanksgiving.
our team.
Mm-hmm.
We also like the chemistry of our team. And even like how Troy was saying, like everybody was in the locker room. Well, knowing at least what I've seen so far, yeah, we were probably down with that loss, but people are talking, people are getting along, talking about things to do.
Yeah.
So like the chemistry is good, everything of that. So like we're not pursuing a trade right now because we're happy with things. It doesn't mean someone can't approach us, but it's almost on some of those teams that aren't feeling good about their teams.
The theory, like,
Yeah.
you're not going to be better.
I guess the
with a
theory is
trade.
if you have those top 5 teams all feeling good about their teams, how
Yeah.
much are they going to be going out pursuing? Maybe they'll kick the can a little bit, like, what's going on? What are you looking for? But they're
Mhm.
probably not out there making a bunch of offers either.
No, and that's
Definitely
another
not.
thing is because if you look at the league standings, it quite literally is what you said. It's like the 5 haves and the 2 have-nots. So
Yeah.
until like there's more
Those two teams got to
segregation, yeah,
They gotta move someone.
until there's more
And someone's
segregation
gonna
between
win.
the points,
It's
yeah,
going to suck.
like that 5th team, that 4th place team is the team you probably want to target for a trade because they want to possibly get into like a higher mix, so they might compete for that top spot. But so unless like one of those teams might want to trade, but it's not going to happen right now with all 5 teams like outside the bottom 2 being so close together in points.
So we talked about the bottom 2, obviously. Based on the first rotation, we'll start with Paulie.
I like
Who
it.
are your favorites now to get the bye?
To get the bye. Oh, it's not going to be us. I hate being top. We're gonna
You've never been top. You like
I-
purposely lose. In
I was gonna say,
February.
you're a
losing.
sandbagger,
I
aren't
know.
you?
I like being 2 at like the best. So
Well, that's still
yeah,
a
I
bye
think
though. You
we'll-
got to be 3.
I know. I think we'll end up at like 3rd or 4th. We'll end up in the middle of the pack. And, we'll give a team a run for their money. I got to go Whalers. Slick Rick's gonna meld with that team. They're gonna get a bye, and then I think the Maroons will come back. The Seals are a little weaker this year, I think. So I don't think they'll get that spot. They always draft well. You build it around Shawnee. He's just bulletproof. He's always bulletproof.
I mean, he's a 200-foot player. There's only about 5 guys in the league, 6 guys in the league, that are
Yeah,
200
I
feet
know,
players,
right?
and it's like
And so I always think about that. And so, yeah, I'm going to take the Whalers and the Maroons. And then we'll be nipping at someone's heels. We'll be third,
Yeah,
I think.
I'll go next, and we'll go over to Hedis there. I'm going to take the Maroons just out of the equation, just because I feel like I'm biased on that side of things. But
You got to take yourself out, baby.
I think I'm just going to.
I shit on my team the whole
come on.
time.
Yeah, come on, baby. You gotta put yourself
the
in
Deeks
there.
suck. We
put
just
on your
were awful.
put on your honesty hat. Put on your honesty hat and do it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Gotta be objective,
I was
baby.
gone. We got
Gotta be
blown
objective.
out. I'm there. We don't.
Yeah, you and Sugar, it's a difference. It matters.
Oh, Sugar obviously is that equation, not me. But I'll just go where it is right now. I'm going to say the Nordiques. I'm going to say the Whalers. The North Stars are solid. Always said that. The Seals are solid. I just don't think they have that extra gear in them. I think the Trent Slick Rick thing's there. That's a good scoring combination. The Nordiques are solid.
is.
Cone's playing out of his mind.
Cone
does go in
Our D
streaks,
has
though,
been great
where
too. Batch,
he could be-
Traeger. Everyone back there has been great.
If Cone loses that hot streak, it could be trouble. Maybe not even necessarily like more playoff time than anything else.
He's gonna
a
have a-
very streaky
yeah.
goalie. He was not playing good in the spring and the summer. He turned on the switch. He's been a stud ever since. Can he keep it up for the
Here's hoping.
KFL? Because I
Here's hoping,
hope
baby.
for
Here's
MNL, I
hoping.
hope not. Hedis, your thoughts?
I did want to touch on. I remember Troy mentioning a little bit earlier. He's like, I've had these guys predicted here and there. I don't think he had the. He didn't have the Tigers like towards the bottom. He had us more like in the middle. But that being said, I think for that top spot, to get it, I still gonna stick with my original preseason ranking or thoughts that the Maroons are arguably, I think, up and down roster wise, are like the
They're
best
pretty
team in the
solid.
league.
Yeah,
Like
they're
if you have
pretty
all your
solid.
players, if every team has all their players show up, no subs, and you're playing on whatever ice it is, I don't care what time it is, whatever you're playing your game. I think the Maroons are the best.
solid.
I feel like the
That's a
Maroons are
good
the
choice.
best
That's a good
team in the
choice.
league. So for me, it's like the Maroons. I think the Whalers are gonna fall off a little bit. I know I said it the preseason. I'm just gonna stick to my guns there. And it's not because I do think they got better actually. Not having Matt Taylor on the team, as weird as it sounds, because he's the other guy. Slick Rick is more of a.
It's a different game.
It's a
He's-
different.
yeah, he's
it's
a
a different game.
facilitator,
He's
you're
a little
right.
bit more of a facilitator.
Yeah.
But he also is just more of a pure sniper. Like that guy, I feel shot like it's not like the college hockey shot that shoots for like rebounds and pads and like it'll beat you 1-on-1. But like if he's in a bumble of players, he's got that beer league like ex-junior sniper kind of a shot where like Pete had, where it's like, oh, there's a crossbar, I'll just shoot for there every time.
Nice.
So he's got a good shot. So I definitely think that I had them towards the bottom in the beginning of the season, like maybe like I think second from the bottom or something like that. I think they're gonna be higher. I think they'll make the playoffs. They'll be in the middle. So it'll be between the Nordiques and the Maroons. I know I didn't mention the Nordiques earlier, but my preseason thinking, I thought the Nordiques were going to be a really good team too. So,
And for the record, Troy had you guys the Tigers number 5. Said working from a poor draft position, the Tigers did very well. Fem Skillman on line 1 and the Ben Kimmel show to do their thing on line 2. The back end is boring but solid, and they get a motivated Hedis in the pipes. Skillman will have them contending.
yeah, well, I know we'll see. We're gonna have to try something jazzy next week against a beleaguered Seals. Will definitely be moving. I think Benner around. I know he's been playing defense, but
just remember the Tigers last year looked far and away the worst team in the league last year. Now the difference with them is
they trade? Did they make a trade and they became great? That's like
I actually think one of the big differences was
they got kicked up.
Fem was doing a lot of traveling for work, was missing a lot of games, and when he was able to start showing up more because of less traveling, that's where they really turned it on. So that's the scary thing about the Tigers actually being able to turn it on this year is they don't have those missing guys as far as I know, or the big time ones. Fem's been showing up every week. Kimmel shows up every week. Ben's been showing up every week. Skillman has, so on and so on. Those top guys are there. So it's like, at least when those guys are missing, it's like, if we can just get these guys showing up, we're in it. We'll get going.
Yeah.
And then they made the finals. I don't know if I see that this year.
Yeah, I'm looking at our season more like in a microcosm. So these past 2 games, we've actually had our full team there both times. So I don't know if we play 11:30 next week. If we don't, I think we're gonna have our whole full team there next week. And I mean, I'm just gonna look at it like microcosms. We have our full team there. We'll see what happens in our first 4 or 5 games. And then when we don't, then kind of write those ones off. Because maybe I don't know if that gels or not, but long story short, we'll see if we can get our full team there to get some goals, to get some try some new strategy.
Man. You got to get that gel. Takes like 2 months. It takes like almost 3 full cycles for a team to really come together.
Well, 3. Come on, no, that's too long.
No, it's not.
It takes a cycle of I think having your team there about like five games, about a month,
maybe 2 full. All right, I'll give you 2 full cycles. But we like last year the Maroons. We drafted Star. We never got the full cycle.
You should have brought somebody.
Gone.
You should have brought somebody else
Edge,
in different.
Mostly they got Edge saved us mostly, but it was still like it was always just off, just a little bit.
The biggest issue with Star as of last year was he kept saying, "Yes, I'm coming back." Where if it would have just been like,
Star.
"No,
God
I'm not playing," we could have looked for that alternative guy. But he kept being like, "Nope, coming back." So kind of moving on. We've talked about the standings, who we think is going to kind of get the buys, who's going to miss the playoffs, but the bottom end, we know about the middle. So far, what's been the biggest surprise of the season to you, Hedis?
The biggest surprise, I guess, the season for me would have to be some of the mid-round guys that you wouldn't expect to be as good as they are, or like coming back like from an off season, playing just excellent hockey. So like, for me, like I think Chad played last year, but he had the season off prior to that, right? So like Chad's been playing like out of his mind. Q-Tip came back. This is his first season back in a while.
Nice.
Q-Tips has been a bulldog out there. He's been playing great.
Forgot how much a harasser he is.
Yeah, and then
I just fuck shit up.
Yeah. Trying to think who else. Some other middle guys like Turnbull, like from my team.
Turnbull's been back.
The Bull's been great, dude.
Yeah.
I
love him.
Turnbull played 1 game in a spring championship. I want to say like 2 years ago for me. I'm like, oh, this guy's a good defenseman. And then like I never see him play. Yeah, and then he's been playing. He's played the last 2-3 weeks. I'm like, Turnbull, like he may not have wheels, but he's a cerebral player. He's always on the board with his stick down for an outlet pass, or he's always making like the poke check he needs to at Serta. And if someone beats him, he forces them to go wide, so then it's easier for me to make a save. So I've loved it. Like, Turnbull's been great. Q-Tip, Chad, some middle round guys have been playing pretty good. Above their draft ranking.
You went easy, man. You gotta think outside the box. The biggest surprise this year, we have no Olympic ice. Where is it? Matt Taylor quit the league. Where is he? And he's still top 10 in stats. We love you, Matt Taylor. I miss you, buddy.
He's number 10 exactly for the record.
There's so much effed up stuff going on this year, and you went like, the players. No. Everything is crazy right now.
Hey, Paulie.
What about the jerseys, huh? No jerseys. No jerseys.
We're used to that.
Paulie, just look at last year, compare it to this year, and things are looking up now.
I know, it's true. We're looking up. It's crazy stuff. Guma, blood, I've never seen so much blood since Dave P. season 1. So,
true.
Oh, man. Yeah. Like, it's been a crazy year so far. There's a lot of surprises. A lot of surprises in Polly's head.
Yeah, I have they're not necessarily surprises to me. First surprise was Sugar coming to the Maroons at our pick of number 6.
There you go. You're right. That was a good one.
The man's number 2 in points right now. He's been on a mission.
Hot. Sugar's hot.
Mind-boggling.
He was definitely not happy, felt offended, has a chip on his. He always kind of has a chip on his shoulder, to be fair, but extra motivated this year. I think the other one was Edge. Everybody's like,
"Oh yeah, Edge is a dark horse."
Got to talk him up, trying to promote him in our marketing department over at the Maroons. You know, he now has a couple different emojis. He's got the razor blade emoji. He's got the U2 Edge emoji as well. So you know, we got to promote our players here. But the man's 6 in points right now. People were saying that's way too early for a defenseman. It was like, we didn't draft him as a defenseman, though.
True.
And
he's got a cannon of a shot, man.
He's got a good shot.
Fuck, that guy can shoot.
For the record, too, that was Doug's. Doug was the one that thought was like, he can play offense. I've talked to him where he said, like, what do you think about Edge here? And I'm just like, it's kind of early for a defenseman. We learned a lesson. He's like, no, for forward. I was like, what? He's like,
and it gives you depth too. You can always send him back. He's got a cannon up top. It's smart.
No. He's not moving back.
If you need him, like,
if
you need it.
Here's the thing with for the Maroons is as a second year GM, you start to learn is like goals are what wins you games at MNL. Last year we had
regular season.
We had Alan Z. You know, outside of that, goals were kind of hard to come by.
True.
On there, we were like, well, we're not going to get Paulie as our number 1 scorer. We didn't think we were going to get Sugar as well. We're like, we need to get goals. So we essentially need our first, like, probably 4 picks in the draft to score goals.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where we were like, nope, Edge is a goal, is a forward. He's stuck there. He's not moving. We need to be able to put up points. So far, he has. I would say another one, and I'll kind of go to a negative, and I think you said it. Fem 0 goals. Guy's a really good hockey player.
Got 0 goals?
He's got 0 goals. Yeah, him and Kimmel both have 0.
What the fuck?
Our leading goal scorer is Skilly at 3 and Drago at 3.
Drago's a fucking dark horse guy. Him, Mackie, and Hal have been in the hot tub at the Hat Trick Lounge for like days. They just hang out there.
My fantasy team, all 3 of them, they're all starting left wing box,
they
baby.
Should be. Fuck. Crazy.
But yeah, I'm shocked so far. 0 goals. He's gonna have a hat trick, a 4-goal game coming up sometime. You know, he's got that. The guy goes. He goes.
Trent up top too. He's usually not up top. Trent's a cannon, but he's not usually. He's number 1, isn't he? Right now?
Yeah, he's number 1 in scoring. He's got 9 goals and 4 assists.
Badass. That's a shocker, I think.
Yeah, him and Sugar. You being only 4th in the league in scoring. My God, what's happening? You missing games out there? You getting too many foot massages?
Feeding Busta, baby. Busta's putting
Busta. Yeah.
Hey, an assist is still a point though. Feeding him. So
that's true.
Yeah, Busta's got 3 Genos too. Yeah, who would have thought him and Drago like leading the way in their teams?
I like the new guys too. I like, we got a new guy, Batches. I think how many new guys we got
Jay's
this year?
great. I love Jay. Jay's awesome.
We got Coach Brandon. We got Jason Dale.
Hughes.
Jason Dale's great.
Got Hughes.
Lee as well. Yeah. So
we got a handful of guys. They're kind of new, and it's kind of brings some new because he didn't.
And every single guy is playing above their draft stock. Like if I'm drafting next year Monday Night Lights, it's like, oh, this guy's to go 4th. I'm like, bro, what? No, he's a 3rd. Stop it. Draft him now.
There's always a steal though. There's always a steal in the draft with the new guys. You never know. There's always some secret insider track.
I feel like every player though, like a lot of people are like, Neville's playing great at defense, out of his mind. But then you're like, this player's playing out of his mind, this player. And all of a sudden you're like, we got to re-rank the players. Where are people going to be? It's like, oh, maybe he is still that player. But, hopefully people are getting, we're all more experienced at hockey, especially, someone like you, experienced, been playing, good most of your life, whole life, whatever it is. But you have other scrubs like me, Drager, Mackies, all of that, who are like, hopefully we're getting better.
You are getting
maybe
better.
Not even physically, but maybe smarter. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So hopefully it just makes the league better overall. Like I think at least, I don't always, when I do a pass now, I don't always hit it as hard as I can. Maybe I'll put a little touch on it.
The more you see, the more you know, man. You just, toe drags, who does what, different moves, everything. Yeah. And, you have time with this guy, no time with this guy. Play the safe board play. Maybe look for a, breakaway, something like that. Yeah, it's definitely cool to see how the league
pick the pocket and have Pete snipey snipe.
Always.
Yeah, I think it was like the new guy Lee. First week, I think it was the first week. One of the first weeks I subbed for the North Stars, and we were losing. It was kind of like, oh fuck. And me and Lee were the defensive combo, and by the end of the game, we're just like, well, we were a +1 on the night. We didn't give up any goals. I guess that's a win. Like, yeah.
Counts.
Yeah, I think
Counts.
everybody's good on there. Next week's games, we actually have the Americans versus the Whalers. We have the North Stars versus
North Stars
the
versus
Nordiques.
Yeah.
Oh, does mean
And
we're at
the-
the 11?
The Tigers versus the Golden Seals at that 11:30 game.
That sucks. That means we're not
Attaboy.
going to have our entire team.
Don't you like wake up at like 3 p.m. anyways?
No, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's like 7, sometimes it's 4.
7
sometimes-
p.m. you wake
no,
up at?
7 a.m. I mean, maybe 7 p.m. It depends
Yeah,
when I go to
why not?
bed. I mean, it depends on errands and work and whatever else you have going on.
Chris
so.
Taylor won't play at 11:30. He's just
Same thing with
automatically
that's what I'm
out.
saying.
I know
Yeah,
we're
same
out.
thing.
We're subbing in.
Same thing with math. So that's why it's like when it's 11:30, math's not in. It's just like, and someone else will probably be like, well, I got kids and I can't come out. So then we'll have like a subbed out roster playing against the sub out Seals.
Yeah, it's a sub game. 11:30.
Sub game,
Get that
11:30.
Olympic ice in, man.
Yeah, and then the Maroons are on the bye. So any GMs out there, I'm available to sub late
I'm
round.
gonna need you.
Stellar.
You're gonna come out
What
of
round
right
are you?
wing
Are you eighth
forward.
round?
You ready for 11:30? Because that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, are you at 8th round? Or are you 7th?
I think I'm an 8th rounder.
Well, looks like we know who. It looks like you're in playing defense next week, then, baby.
You're in.
Because we have to go to you, right? Because it's this. You're out this
You're
week.
playing on Tuesday morning.
You're playing on Tuesday morning from 11:30 to 12:30 a.m.
Is that for math? Are you talking about math?
Yeah, as I'm assuming Math's not going to be in. So
I can't sub for math. I was the pick before him.
I thought it's just whoever's out and you're in the same round.
It has to be after.
How? Because
Has to be after.
didn't Trent sub in for? Did Chris Taylor get drafted before Trent? Then
One pick.
what? Like
Well,
okay.
Trent's a GM. No.
Yeah, no,
Was he
Trent
this
is
year?
a GM. Yeah,
He's a
So
GM.
they
It's a
put him-
keeper spot. So
They slotted him.
must be nice.
Oh
But-
yeah, I've been trying to sub for like 3 years in this league, and I
Which is
still can't.
nonsense, bro.
Yeah.
You should like honestly, if
Can't
another
sub.
first rounder's out and it's like I don't
It'd
know.
be nice.
hey, we have the
Swap it.
rule
Nice.
that the top 3 can sub for the top 3 now.
Top 2. Oh, it's 3 now.
I believe
get a
it's always
3?
been 3.
Yes,
so
you
It was
Slick
just
Rick
It was
and-
like me,
And
Fister.
Fem.
I can't sub for myself, so it was like Fister and Matt Taylor's what I got.
Don't Tanya.
now I
Har-
get 3.
Yeah, don't
Well,
Tanya
that's it. No,
Harding
no,
anybody.
well, no,
right?
I'm trying to.
3 is the top 3 picks can sub for each other. So
I
you
can't
can sub for 2
myself,
other
So I
guys.
get 2 guys.
He gets 2 guys. Come
Ah,
on, Pearcy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Everyone else gets 50 guys.
Well, maybe we should go. Maybe we should go back to the old rules where you can only sub for Slick Rick.
Yeah, go ahead. Then Matt Taylor's out the league. I'm gonna sit down with Rick. Rick's gonna quit in 2 weeks, and then you're gonna be gone. I'm just gonna keep replacing him with someone I can sub with.
That's perfect. I love it.
Hey, it is what it is on that side of things. So
I know it's a shame. We'll get there. We meet every Mondays for coffee. It's nice, Matt Taylor, me, Serta, all the ones get together,
And
bitch about the 5s that hack us and slash us and break us.
the
Yeah.
round 1 coffee talk. You guys
Yeah.
just go to like a nice little hipster place downtown.
Yeah.
Desert
Gooma's
Oasis.
coming too now. He's bleeding everywhere. He's like,
Yeah.
all right, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By proxy.
Yeah.
He's like the mafia.
Wells?
him and Serta come in their suits. They sit down. They talk big business.
Yeah. Maseratis only.
Yeah.
so does anybody have anything else they want to talk about?
Outside of the Americans' goals against this year, because they've given up like 40 million goals playing against a lot of the teams. I think the league this year has been like down in scoring, which is a little surprising. I was expecting to go
I can
up.
see that.
I was going to
see
say
that.
it was going up in scoring when I did the math. I think there's only the 2018 season. I think it's the 2018 season was the one. No, 2019 season. Excuse me, was the only one that's been
9 goal
lower.
games.
That and I think the first league, because you guys didn't play as many first year, you didn't play as many games. So there's only been 2 seasons that have been low in scoring so far. But granted, we're only one rotation through, so we'll see what happens the rest of the year. But I was expecting a little bit more goals because Dilly's not in there. Me and I mean, I'm doing my job, boys. I'm keeping you guys to half a goal a game, and I know Connor's doing his job.
Yeah,
we need
trying
Americans.
to.
We need Americans to help out Kalea. We'll keep all the goals down. It'll be 3-2 games, 2-1 games.
I think that's better for the league. I mean, so I've been in like it was teams, it wasn't leagues, but you start like subbing up and out. Like, yeah, you bring in more Matt Taylors, and then like the autos are out. And then like I'm out, and like now the league is just 20-year-olds. Oh, there's the coffee everywhere.
There's nothing left.
No, there you go. So yeah, you can't sub yourself out. You got to keep some good parity and stuff. So
Oh yeah, I always talk that MNL needs to bring in a minimum age league or number where it's like,
Well,
when
like,
people leave, guy has to be like 32, 33 to actually enter the league.
or keep like 8
20.
1s or like 7 1s and 14 2s, and just kind of like even it out.
Yeah,
as
get
long
like
as like skill.
anybody that's age 28 or older can play. If you're not, then you're not allowed in.
Bro, we should be a 30 and above league. I mean, as an old man, it's only
I
gonna
think
get harder.
Dilly's the youngest person in the league, so Dilly and
Dylan?
Fem. Yeah, Dylan Fem. Dill's like 94, I think, right?
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking
I mean,
shit.
I'm a quote unquote younger guy in the league, and
You
I'm
a
like,
90 baby.
yeah, man.
Ugh.
I'm not even 30. I'm turned 30 this year, so.
Ugh.
Oh
We
God.
going out? Let's go
But,
out.
I don't know.
We'll go out.
Thailand. Get all the masseuses. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, let me grab some
The
paper
little
towel.
femboys. I like
Let me grab some paper towel.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Kind of wrapping it up. I'm not sure when the next podcast will be. The Cape Elk schedule only goes out till next
2
week.
weeks. You do it every 2 weeks. You'll be all right.
Guaranteed next podcast, if not, would be February 22nd, 2022, where I've
The
already been
return of the
informed
tutus.
that there'll be a 2-2
Bring
podcast
it
on
in.
that day.
Judge, Fister, Panny. Yes.
I'm already a little bit scared of that.
Yes.
So
Oh yeah, you should be.
Pandy's not at 22 right now. Is he allowed to come?
He is. He's honorary. He's been inducted in. Yeah, you're right. Once you're in the club, you're in the club. It's kind of like
You guys talk about the jerseys already?
Yeah, we did
is
jerseys earlier.
anybody allowed to join the club? Like,
No,
is it,
join the club. Yeah, pick 2-2. You're in, or whoever wants to join the podcast, they can handle.
I
Because
feel
we drank 2/5 of bourbon last time, and it was a shit show. So
As long as,
don't remind me. I remember going to work the next morning.
yeah, it was great.
Taking a crap and like falling asleep with a hangover on the toilet and being like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, I was always a early like 7 a.m. guy. No one would come in for an hour and be like, thinking to myself, should I just go home and then call my boss and say I'm sick today?
Yeah,
And no one would ever even know that I was in the office.
that's how you
So,
know it was good. That's how you know it was a good one.
yes.
And fun fact, goalies can take shootout shots. Did you know that?
well. Once we go through the entire roster, look who's taking a shot.
No, guess who's first? Koner. We're putting Koner right up there.
He's on
When we
long
go to a
break.
shootout,
Does he lose the glove?
he
So he
can
just,
do
like-
whatever he wants. He's an eligible player. He's on
He just
the
takes
ice.
the glove off. He starts wheeling.
We
and
can
dealing.
give him player gloves and whatever stick he wants, and he can go fucking take a shot. We're gonna do it. And the first goalie to do it, he's gonna save and then win the game. That's what he's
That'd be
gonna do.
unreal.
Yeah,
I want to do
Koner,
that
buckle
now.
up. We're sorry.
I
This,
still-
this
we're
is
so
definitely
sorry.
why we need to go to the rule, similar to Troy.
I don't know. I saw it in
sports
the high school game. I
Once
thought
you
it's
go
legal.
3 guys, you're allowed to start repeating guys over and over just for time's sake. Because if we ever get to the
No.
point where a goalie is shooting,
No, that's
There's
He's an
an issue.
eligible player.
Yeah, no, that's incredible.
He's
no,
eligible.
Pearcy, you got to keep that. You can't get rid of it. That's
eligible.
great. Yeah,
he's eligible, and he could. We're gonna put him first.
You make everybody go, and then like after the goalie goes, if no one scores, then you do it again. Then you start from the top,
True.
and then you can run through players all you want. That's incredible. I want us to be the first goalie to score a goal on Monday Night Lights. I've been trying to do that for a couple of years
I know.
now. So.
Yeah, there's some bets going.
Never had a
There's got to be
chance.
there's got to be some kind of tontine or something going.
Oh, there
on.
is some an underground goalie network. We got some bets.
maybe we can consider that rule when the Olympic ice comes back. But with the 11:30 games, I don't know if that's good for anybody.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've
probably
had
not. As long as he
three-
scores, the game's over, baby.
We've had
He's
three.
gonna make the save, score the goal, he's done.
GGs.
Yeah,
I've
he did the whole thing.
I've already had 3, so
I'm
I mean,
excited for
I
it.
think 4 is gonna come up soon.
I'm excited for it. Yeah.
11:30.
That is true. So
So late.
yeah, I think we're kind of getting into some
Yeah, we're
nonsense
just
as of
rambling
right
at this
now.
point. I'm glad
So,
we're stopping. Yeah.
We're-
I got
the Crown Royal.
I got the gym. I got leg day to hit.
Oh, Jesus.
So, anyways, I think we are over. We'll talk to you later, boys. Bye.
Later, boys and wives.